Hey everyone, Kevin here, and welcome back to my channel. So, throughout my life, I've been living as an introvert in an extrovert's world. It might surprise you that I've always chosen roles where I have to be very social and collaborative, despite being that introverted person. I mean, I've been a teacher, which is like the most anti introvert job out there, and even as an instructional designer now, I often have to work with others who are really sociable in ways that I'm inherently not. I also interact with so many through this YouTube channel and with tens of thousands of others on LinkedIn and Reddit on a daily basis by helping people leave teaching, be better in their jobs, or just deal with their traumas. To even throw a shameless self plug in there for a second, I've been invited by the Fort Worth Mid Cities chapter of ATD to chair a virtual session on how to transition from teaching into the L&D field and onto LinkedIn in June, and I was really flattered to be asked by such a prestigious group to do that. I'll drop the link to it in the comments for you in case you're interested in attending. But back to the point, you know what I've come to realize about introverts? There's a lot of us like this who take on such roles because the workforce is geared toward promoting and rewarding more extroverted individuals rather than the introverted ones. Even though introverts make up a third of the population, plus whatever percentage fall between those two extremes who are known as ambiverts. And I find that mentality really odd since most introverts have real strengths which go untapped when they aren't included in the workplace. We're often very self aware and spend a great deal of time learning about ourselves and how we interact with others, especially considering that we have to interact with those who aren't like us every single day. And we often learn organizational things quickly by watching others do it and then immediately replicating it with our own flair, rather than most extroverts who tend to go solely by trial and error. We can definitely learn by doing too, but we need the quiet and space to practice that on our own. I'll absolutely admit that I'm a little blessed now to have found a remote position which allows me to better control my own environment. But most people aren't that lucky, and my teaching days still weren't all that long ago in the grand scheme of things. I can still vividly remember the constant noise, social interaction, phone calls, meetings, and total lack of control of my own space. And no matter your job, that probably sounds familiar to you to some extent. And I'm sure the question has crossed your mind at least a handful of times: why is everything here set up in ways I don't identify with? Yeah, being an introvert in the workforce is tough because we're hardwired to be drained by constant social interaction and being around large groups of people. We enjoy solitude and alone time, and that input often leaves us distracted and unable to focus. All of that also leads to many of our extroverted colleagues thinking we're closed off and somehow difficult to get to know, even when that's really not the case at all. We instead have had to find ways to work through those issues and find ways to manage or self regulate to stay sane. If you're in this situation, I really wanted to provide some methods to do just that today, if you'll permit me the indulgence, because it's incredibly important to protect your quiet time. Find quiet places and set boundaries to keep you at your best. Always plan for meetings or noisy places by preparing what you want to say and rehearsing it a little so you're clear during those events. Don't feel obligated to participate in non essential social interactions and have a specific place to go to detox from everything. That way, you'll complete your work independently or just find some peace and quiet while also needing to recharge your batteries. I learned this very early on during my student teaching when my master teacher saw how much I was struggling with the level of social interaction and showed me a secluded spot on campus with a really nice view of the mountains where he would go and meditate for a few minutes every day, and it ended up helping me too. I continue to do similar things and really take an effort to advocate for my mental health every day now. I go for walks or exercise on the elliptical in my garage. I pet my cat, play video games, watch a quick video, or just sit with my eye massager on for a few minutes. It's important to know your limits, needs, and play to your strengths. And most importantly, please never apologize for being an introvert. That's just your personality, and you should never have to apologize for being who you are. Those of us who left teaching, and anyone out there who has had no choice but to quit a job because of how toxic it was or one that didn't accommodate your needs, can say with absolute certainty that we feel better not being in such an adverse environment anymore. Don't get me wrong. We all have to put on a face at times, and I remember needing to act extroverted or peppier when talking with students during the day or in meetings, but then just letting that fake smile drop and allowing myself to deflate a little in order to expel that social exhaustion. But there should still be room for you in there somewhere. It's why I always tell myself the teacher for kids who never had a teacher, because I like the performing arts, anime, video games, and things that are often associated with those who are more introverted. Fewer students liked me as much as their extroverted teachers, but I feel I formed deeper connections with the few I personally interacted with on one every day. Even with the outward act I put on in extroverted situations, I would never be a person I'm not. And as soon as I was pressured into letting them take that choice away from me, I left and found something better that does accept me for who I am. And so should you. Oh, and by all means, we have to fight an uphill battle too. Introverts are outnumbered 2 to 1 in the workforce by extroverts who don't really understand our desire for solitude or smaller friend groups. We don't need to be around someone all the time to be friends, and social interaction isn't always welcome for us. It isn't a matter of us being shy or ambivalent, but rather finding contentment without hordes of other people. And that's why you should always be aware of the workplace culture and expectations, but not be afraid to speak up, take on leadership roles that suit you, and be open and honest with your bosses about what you need to thrive. But that's all for now. Thanks for listening, and if you could click subscribe and hit the bell button to keep up to date with all of my content, you'll be really doing me a solid and helping me out with the social media algorithm that kind of has had it out for me lately. Thanks again, and as always, I've been Kevin, and I will see you in the next video.